Hey there, and welcome to a new episode of the Dietitian Success Podcast, the business and entrepreneurship podcast for registered dietitians. I am your host, Krista Kolajesic, and I'm the founder of Dietitian Success Center. If you are new here, welcome. We talk about business and entrepreneurship every single week, specifically for registered dietitians. So funny. As I was pressing, so the hour before I was about to press record for this podcast episode, I was listening to my recording from last week, which is going to be posted this Thursday. And I was like, who gave this girl a mic? Like, I liked the episode, but I spent way too much time on the intro, and I totally acknowledge that. So I'm not going to do that today. I think because it was my first episode back after taking some time away, I clearly was just like bursting at the seams to just share and talk. So anyways, all that to say, it just made me giggle. And I had a lot to talk about. And so I won't do that today, but I hope that you enjoyed my long rambly update last week, and I will try and keep it more concise moving forward. But all that to say, if you want to get coached so an abbreviated version of that, if you want to get one-on-one business coaching from me, make sure and join our entrepreneurship tier of the Dietitian Success Center membership. If you want to come and meet in real life and attend our first in-person summit, which is going to be so fun, and it's going to be hosted in Toronto this September 2026, then join the waitlist. The links for both of those are in the description of this episode. But again, I'm not going to get carried away. Let's actually just get into the content today, where I talk about 3 different business questions or business topics that come up all the time for registered dietitians in our community. So the first thing that I want to talk about is business overwhelm. So that's going to be topic 1, business overwhelm, having too many things to do and feeling like anytime you go to work, you're just so overwhelmed by all the things you could be doing that you have no idea where to start or what to do. We're going to talk about number 2, group program. So when to start a group program. And we're going to talk about how to shift your business based on different seasons of life. So, when you go through something significant in life, whether it's maternity, you take a maternity leave, or you just take time off of your business, or just something big in your life has changed, and maybe your business feels different. And so let's talk about what do we do if our business feels different and maybe it doesn't feel so aligned or on point anymore. All right, let's just get right into it. I just feel like coaching today. Let's get into it. Okay, number 1, around business overwhelm, which, by the way, is a topic that I hear from every single business owner, and I experience myself all the time. So let's try and do this question justice. So the topic or the question is, whenever I finally get time to work on my business, I feel overwhelmed by everything that needs to be done and end up doing nothing. How do you decide what actually matters most when building a business? So I think that this is one of the more challenging aspects of working for yourself, because generally there's nobody who is sitting with you telling you, hey, this needs to be done right now, or this needs to be done this week. This needs to be prioritized. And so it's really up to us. And that is a skill we have to start to develop, to learn how to prioritize, to learn how to allocate our time appropriately. So this really comes down to something that I talk about a lot, which is analysis paralysis, right? Where we're like, there's just so many different ways I could go or things I could do that I just don't know what to do. And I end up either sitting down at my computer and filling my time with tasks that make me feel like I'm being productive, like checking my emails, but actually aren't really moving the needle in terms of helping me achieve my goals as a business owner. And I find myself there often, and this was so common when I first started my business, and has gotten less common over time as I've implemented what I'm going to talk about next. Okay, so what do you do when you find yourself in this position? One of the things we came up with as a team, as we were talking about how to tackle this topic, because it is a piece of the curriculum within the entrepreneurship membership course that you get access to, is I came up with this framework, and I call it the plate framework and I named it that, obviously, because it's easy for dietitians to understand. But the plate framework is really your framework for how to think about your business and what to work on in your business. So the plate stands for P is plan your vision. L is list your priorities. A is allocate your time. T is tackle your tasks. And then E is evaluate metrics. So really, this is a way for us to think about our business from a bigger picture and then drill it down into our priorities and then our task lists. So the first thing I want to ask you, if you find yourself in this position, is are you even clear on what your overall goal for your business is? Are you even clear in terms of where you want to go? So when I talk about business strategy, and business strategy is one of my favorite things to talk about, I'm actually doing a live Q&A session, coaching session on this within the entrepreneurship membership this week. It's going to be all about strategy, but strategy is really where we evaluate where we are now, we evaluate where we want to be, and then we work our way backwards to say, okay, so then what is the plan that needs to happen in order to get us from A, where we are now, to B, where we want to be? And so if we're not clear on where we want to be or where we want to go as a business, then it becomes very difficult to decide what we're actually going to do and how we're going to spend our time, right? Because if I'm saying to myself, I'm working, I'm working 30 hours a week in my 9 to 5. I really like that. And I'm just interested in kind of building a little side hustle where I take on a few clients a week just to bring in some extra income. So that's great. That's a very valid goal. And when we're clear on that goal, well, then suddenly, our main priorities need to just be, okay, what do I need to do in order to get a couple clients a week? So what are the marketing tasks that I need to do in order to get a couple clients a week? And I can tune out all of the noise that is people telling me I should be doing other things in my business. Like I should be taking on consulting work or doing groups or doing an online course or having an ebook or whatever, right? Because I'm clear that actually I'm just trying to build a little bit of side income on top of my 9 to 5 job. Versus if you are someone who is like, I want to take this full time, I'm looking to build a big global brand. I want to be the go-to expert on whatever topic, celiac disease. Then suddenly, when we're clear on that vision, then we can say, okay, well, the bigger picture priorities that I want to do in order to get there could be, I want to build an audience. I want to have a YouTube channel. I want to have a podcast. I want to have a big Instagram following. Those are two very different business models with two very different goals. But if we're not clear on what our goals are or what our vision is for our business, which is the P of the plate framework, plan your vision, then we don't really know where we're going. So that's the first piece, is get really clear on where you're going. And then once you're clear on where you're going, I want you to sit down and take your best guess at what the higher level priorities are that need to happen in order for you to get there. So a priority is like a big project. That's how I think about priorities. So for example, with the dietitian who wants to start a big global brand and she wants to have a podcast, creating a podcast is a priority, right? That is a big project. And then that project can be broken down into smaller tasks. And smaller tasks would be those things that we put on our to-do list, like, come up with a podcast name, decide what I'm going to talk about in my podcast, research podcasting microphones and tech and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So those are our small to-do list tasks. Now, without taking the time to think about your vision and to think about your priorities and those big projects that you work on, then we don't really take the time to drill those down into tasks and to have an actual task list that is there for us when we go to sit down at our computer to do a work session. We just end up sitting down and we think to ourselves, I don't know what I'm going to do. And whatever is top of mind for you that day, or perhaps whatever feels the easiest to do, is what you're going to end up working on. And so then the next step of that is we can start to utilize, and this is something that I absolutely recommend for every single dietitian, is to have a task list, either software or you can just use old school pen and paper to-do list. We should always have a list going of things that we want to be doing, that we want to be working on. Because anytime, so what we do within Dietitian Success Center is we use a platform called Asana. Asana is fabulous. I highly recommend it. Some people find Asana a little bit intimidating, a little bit overwhelming. So there's also a much simpler version called Todoist, and it's a great just like free app that you can get for your phone. And so you can start recording those tasks as you start thinking through, what is it that I want to do in my business? How do I want to break these projects down into tasks? And then you can start listing those tasks out on your to-do list. And then when you sit down at your desk, you have more clarity in terms of what you actually want to be working on. And then what I would say too is if you're like, yeah, but I have a task list. And again, I just find myself is sitting down and doing things that don't, that are, I don't want to say meaningless, but I want to say things that feel productive, like the checking emails or doing admin or whatever. And you're not actually tackling those bigger picture things. That's usually because you probably haven't broken that bigger picture thing down into small enough tasks, right? Like if I sit down at my computer and I say, oh, I want to create an online course, whoa, that feels way too overwhelming. There's no chance I'm going to do that when I sit down at my computer, because that idea of just like creating an online course is way too big and meaty. And it's like, oh, I'll just do that later when I have more capacity for it. Versus if my task list tells me, research online course platforms, well, that's a task that I could definitely do today. And I heard this quote a few weeks ago, and it's just really stuck with me. And the quote is, "You're never stuck as long as you keep moving forward." I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so real in business. You're never stuck as long as you keep moving forward. So that is the goal. Even though if you sit down and you think to yourself, I don't know if this is the best thing to work on right now, just pick something. Pick something and just start, because you're never stuck as long as you keep moving forward. Okay. Let's tackle the second question, which is one that we get a lot, and particularly lately, since we had the conversation a few weeks back, the episode with Kim Tirapelli from Active Bariatric Nutrition, and she was talking about her group program. And we have dietitians often who talk about group programs. And so the question is, I've been seeing clients one-on-one for a few years, and my schedule is pretty full. I keep thinking about creating a group program because it seems like it could help more people and give me a bit more flexibility in my schedule. But I also worry about building something and having no one sign up. How do you know when the timing is right to start a group program instead of just continuing with one-on-one work? Yeah. So the first thing that I want to say is that the idea that a group program is the right fit for everyone at every stage of business is just simply false. And here's why I say that is because in order to so if we really think about how a group program has to work logistically, we have to have a group of people who are all ready to participate in the same thing at the same time, and they are all ready to buy right now. Now, that is really challenging to have and challenging to do if you do not have an audience already created. So one of the essential pieces that we have to have in place in order to run a group program successfully is we really have to have an audience of people so that we can pull from that audience to say, hey, I'm starting this group. How many of you are interested in joining right now? And that's why it's often easier when we're starting a business to start with one-on-one work, because with one-on-one, like you only need one person to be ready right now in order to start your business, right? And so an audience is important. Now, one of the really cool things that has challenged my perspective on this lately is we have two incredible dietitians within the entrepreneurship membership who have joined together to create a group program. And while I would have said before that an email list is really the audience type that is essential to have for a group program, these two dietitians really challenged this perspective because they've successfully run 2 rounds of a group program without an email list and simply they've filled it with people that they know. So these are these are dietitians that have a community. They have a lot of personal relationships, they have personal connections. And so they've been able to fill their 2 rounds of a group program that way, which is really amazing. So again, the audience piece had to be there, but it's in a different way. They had this, audience of personal connections, which had been built over many years of practice. And so not everyone might have that. But if you don't have that, then again, I do think that having that email list is really going to be the most effective way to be able to build up an audience, build the know, like, and trust factor over time. So this is something that you can absolutely do, while you're working with clients one-on-one. If you haven't started an email list yet, do it. Start an email list, start building up an audience of people that are developing trust with you. And then when you go to create your group program, you have a group of people there to be able to offer that to. So you have more people who are ready at the same time to participate. So yeah, I think a group program can be an awesome way to be able to leverage your time and to be able to build scalability into your business, but your business has to be ready for it. And not all business owners at every point in time are ready for it. And so if you are wondering, is my business ready for a group program? Chat with us about it in the entrepreneurship membership of Dietitian Success Center. Or if you're just not sure if that's the right fit for you, that's totally fine. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram at kristaco.rd and we can chat through this for sure. Okay, love that topic. Topic number 3. What to do when your business feels different. Oof, okay. So the topic is, after maternity leave, my business doesn't feel the same anymore. How do you reassess your goals and business design when your life circumstances change? So I think that this is so interesting, and I love this because it really highlights how entrepreneurship and business ownership and your personal life are so closely intertwined. They're so closely intertwined. And I think that that's something that people who don't have businesses just don't understand is how when something big changes in your personal life, it is almost impossible to keep that completely separate from your business life. And particularly, I think when, people experience something like having kids, which obviously changes your life completely, right? And sometimes that means that we have a lot less time to be able to dedicate to our business, or sometimes that means that maybe our priorities are just shifted and we don't necessarily want to do the same things that we were doing before. Maybe we're spending our weekends and evenings working with people one-on-one, and now we're like, I just don't want to do that anymore. And so to answer this question, it's really just about saying, yeah, if you're feeling like things aren't aligned anymore, then they're probably not aligned anymore. And it's a great time to rethink and reassess what you want out of your business and what your business looks like. And again, going back to that first question that I talked about, where we were talking about the plate framework, which P was plan your vision. This is a really great time to think about, what is my new vision? And what do I want my life to look like? We don't have to just keep going about our businesses the way that we've always been going about it, because it's just how we've always done it. We can reassess. And what I would also challenge you to do, if you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't see another way. My business doesn't feel aligned. I'm working with clients a lot one-on-one, and I don't see how I can change that. Look for more inspiration. Look for inspiration externally. Go back in this podcast and listen to past episodes, or listen to any business podcast where entrepreneurs talk about their business journeys and gain inspiration about what a different business model or business design could look like for you. Because let me tell you, through however many, 230 episodes of this podcast, I've interviewed countless dietitians, and no one single business model is the same, but it's really hard we don't know what we don't know. And one of the best ways to learn about what the possibilities are is to listen to the stories of other people. So go back in this podcast, listen to some of those stories. You're going to hear stories about group programs. You're going to hear stories about online courses. You're going to hear stories about consulting and freelancing. Like, you're going to hear a diversity in stories in order to give you exposure to different ways of doing things. That's what I love about this podcast. But, and I'll talk a little bit too about like my own journey with this. So I have 2 kids now. I just had my second baby in November, and this has absolutely been something that I've for sure gone through. So before I had my first baby, I was doing a lot more I was definitely doing a lot more one-on-one business coaching. That was something that was, yeah, I had a lot more meetings in my calendar, a lot more one-on-one business coaching. So we had the membership going and the business, I had business coaching on the side or private business coaching on the side. And I was also teaching at a university, and I was also just doing a lot of other things, which was filling up my calendar. And as an entrepreneur, especially when you have kids and your schedule is not necessarily the same, or it's not necessarily your own anymore, that definitely had to shift for me. And when I went on maternity leave, I kind of had to make the decision, because I took some time off, that I was going to put the private business coaching to the side. And I was really going to focus on building the membership to have more of a scalable business model under my belt. And that has served me really well. And it's been something that we've continued to do. And then now we've also just reassessed that again with launching the entrepreneurship tier. Okay, I'm back, but I'm not back in a way where I can really dedicate as much time to working with clients one-on-one. And so now the structure of the entrepreneurship membership is dietitians join and they get a one-on-one business coaching session with me. But it's not something that I'm doing long-term with every dietitian who comes to me. So that's been a really great way to be able to say, okay, I still want to offer this because I love it. I love working with dietitians one-on-one, but I just don't have the capacity or the schedule to be able to do that to the extent that I was before. And so, we've kind of morphed the two together and come up with, I think, what is working as a really awesome option for dietitians that are looking for personalized support within the membership. So yeah, business, it is just so closely intertwined with personal. And this is something that is so real for so many of us. So I hope that was helpful. Okay, all that to say, if you are, again, looking for support in your business, come and chat with me at kristaco.rd or at Dietitian Success Center on Instagram. And we can talk about whether the entrepreneurship tier of Dietitian Success Center is right for you, or you can just join it on the membership page of the website, or the pricing page of the website, rather. The entrepreneurship tier, again, so it's a full year of support, and you get a one-on-one session with me. And then after that one-on-one session, you get access to our on-demand business coaching feature, where you can submit a video or an audio question to our team. Every week. You can submit 2 questions to our team every week, and you get a video or audio response back. So it's a way to be able to get coaching as you need it. So for example, a dietitian last week submitted a question for us that was like, hey, I'm launching this digital product and I'm stuck on the pricing. I had kind of decided on a price, but it just doesn't feel quite right anymore because I put so much more work into it and more effort into it and more value. So what do you think about this new price point? And so she was able to get direct feedback on that, which is pretty cool to be able to provide coaching when you need it. And then we also do bi-weekly office hours where we bring in experts on different topics in the world of business and entrepreneurship. So we're having a lawyer come in, an accountant come in to talk about bookkeeping. I'm doing the session this week on business strategy. So that piece around, okay, well, I think I want my business to look like this. I'm here. How do we actually get from A to B? Marketing, social media, etc. All of those topics are covered. We also have a full curriculum of business material as well, which you can access, and our community, which is filled with dietitians who are just a wealth of knowledge and are so willing to help and support other dietitians, because that's really what we do within Dietitian Success Center. We support other dietitians. We are community over competition all the way. Okay. Well, that was fun. That was a really fun episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know how you feel about the structure of these episodes now. Shoot me a DM. I always love to talk with dietitians in the DMs on Instagram at kristaco.rd. But otherwise, I hope you have an awesome week, and I will see you next Thursday.